Hi everyone, it's me again. This is going to be a really short video about making a loop on a mandrel and then attaching it to an off mandrel piece. And the reason I do it this way is because I find I've got a bit more control. So I'm going to make this as quick as I can to reduce my upload speed. So the piece that's going to be off mandrel is literally going to be a flattened round piece of glass. I'm not going to do anything fancy with it. It just reduces my time frames. So the first thing I need to do is, with a 5mm mandrel, make a small donut bead and then add a dot to one spot on this donut. The reason I've gone for a 5mm mandrel is because this gives me enough of a hole to put ribbon or cord or whatever you fancy through. If you want something thinner, you can make this on any size mandrel you want. Of course, the bigger the mandrel, the bigger the piece that's going onto the attachment probably needs to be, otherwise they'll look out of proportion. So just make a small disc and melt it down into a donut. And it doesn't need to be fancy at all, although you can make these as compact as you want, really. So this is literally just a small one. And then pick a spot where you're going to put one dot. And it needs to be a fairly large dot, it's just for ease of use later. You want to melt your dot really well to your base bead. So most of my heat now is going on to the dot. And then make sure that that dot is aligned. So look at it both ways on and hold it down. Your dot is down, so your weight is pulling down a little. There you go, can you see that? That's going in the kiln, and it's going literally just into the kiln, so it's only this piece going in the kiln. Right, sorry about that, and I've got my big kiln, not the little one over here, so the big kiln is behind me. But I chose to use the big kiln because it's got a lip and I can pull the piece of glass right against the lip, but it's still inside the kiln. So instead of using a glass puntee, I'm using a 1.6mm mandrel, and I'm just going to make some sort of lollipop or something off the end of this, just for a quick demo so you can see how these two pieces join. If you want to make it using a glass puntee, however you normally make your off mandrel piece, just do it your usual way. I do it this way because I find it easiest for me. I've got a bit more control over this than I would over a piece of glass. And I've chosen this 1.6mm mandrel because it leaves a smaller piece for me to correct when it comes off mandrel and attaches to the other piece. You use whatever size you're comfortable with. If you've got an old 2.4mm, this mandrel's not coated, by the way, there's no bead release on this. I'm just making the quickest thing that I can make so I can show you how these two pieces join. Go, flat lollipop. Warm that up to get my marks off. Well, I'm not too worried. I'm going to go now and grab the other piece back out of the kiln. It's easier to do this if your kiln is quite close to your workstation. Mine is the other side of the room. So I can hold this about this distance at the minute without any heat. And as I keep reheating this in the flame, I can move my fingers up a little bit at a time. As the heat dissipates from this. When you feel that you can move it up enough and you've got enough control over the two pieces, start adding a bit more heat to this piece now. And the next thing you need to think about is which orientation you want your loop to be. So do you want it back to front, front to back, or do you want it side to side? So for this one, I think I'm going to go side to side. So heat the very edge only, and just your dot here. So all your heat has been concentrated on these two little spots. When you think you've got enough heat, push your two pieces together. Just hold and let them settle. I can take my hand away from that and use that for gravity to get the alignment right. But it's not too important at the minute because we need to heat this join. Just here. So you want a little bit of heat at a time. And you want to get rid of that obvious signs that there's a join there, but just take your time and do it slowly. If you think it's starting to get away from you, take it out of the flame and let it cool back down. I'm sorry, I've got a terrible itchy nose this morning. Everybody thinks this is a fiddle when I've spoken to them, and maybe it is a little bit, but you do get a nice loop, so you know you're going to get a really tidy loop every single time. And we're almost there. These two pieces are almost melted that you can't see where the join is, and that's what you want to achieve. And use gravity again to make sure these two pieces are aligned. There we go, happy with that. And now I need to remove this thin mandrel from my pendant piece. So I'm heating the mandrel itself. I'm not heating the glass, I'm heating the mandrel, and just gentle pull, and that pops straight out. And now I put that into the hand that I like to use and just melt that flat. Melt that smooth. And that is it. It's all ready to go in the kiln.